go. Welcome into the form, your guide towards the weekend's feature racing, and our features will be firstly down at Riccarton. We're looking forward to a really good program there. We've also got racing at Otaki too, with the Hawke's Bay meeting features on the program. And of course we can't forget day 2 of the championships on Saturday. And speaking of Sydney, we welcome back Leith Innes into studio, and of course Aidan Rodley. Leith, how was Sydney?
Yeah, Sydney was great, Pip. Obviously it was great to be on course last week, watching Jolly Star win for the Lindsay family, and look, she's off to Royal Ascot now, and if you got a bit of money, everyone's invited, I heard.
Is that right? Wow, that'd be good. And obviously another terrific day there with day 2 this weekend as well. Good day at Riccarton too, isn't it? Headed by one of these innovation races, the last of them, the Southern Alps Challenge, and a couple of good stakes races, the Welcome Stakes and the NZB Insurance Stakes as well, to support Otaki, which is hosting the Hawke's Bay features. Yeah, some really good programs, I think, for both the meetings. I say hello to you, Bevan Sweeney, down at Riccarton, but big fields at Otaki too.
Very good morning, and well, fleece paying, I'm coming. Look out, Ascot will hit that full flight. It's probably appropriate that it is Hawke's Bay Cup Day coming out of Otaki, as we did have those jump outs earlier on in the week, which I understand were very, very successful as they commit to that program to bring racing back, I think, mid to late May. So the set of trials coming up, but the jump outs are all good, and let's hope everything, fingers crossed with tracks, goes to plan.
Absolutely, that's what we want as we take a look at what's coming up today on the show, and we will be starting with those features down south. As Aidan's mentioned, the TAB Southern Alps are one of the features. We also look forward to their listed Welcome Stakes, just to name one of the features there for the 2-year-olds. And then, of course, we do have those races at Otaki. Yes, the City of Napier Sprint and the Hawke's Bay Cup standing out as the features. Our usual segments as well. Then we will be having a look at the championships, day 2 out of Randwick, where we see Ohope wins go around again, and our best bets to round out the show. So let's start with the feature. We'll be taking a look at what the weather and track conditions are doing down south. Aidan, are we looking like good weather on Saturday? Yeah,
it looks like a gorgeous day, not only today but also Friday and Saturday. So really good meeting in prospect. The rail goes in 8 metres there, so soft 5, you'd think back to a good track, and yeah, there might be an advantage being close to the fence, as we've seen in recent times, but Riccarton has played really fairly, especially down the chute in recent times, so I can't see that changing too much.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the first feature, the TAB Southern Alps, race number 8 on the program with $350,000. And as you'd expect, Bevan, a very open affair for what is a race with a lot of depth.
It is. It's a really nice race, and Sir Albert, he has a lot of quality. We've seen that. He was okay behind Toa Haka at Ashburton. I think we put a line through a little bit of the form there. I thought Aladdin's Gem was great behind Inflamed, as was Wits End. There's a couple that have won off the front clearly at Riccarton in recent times. You know, if you look at Inflamed last start, Wits End last start, both on the 21st, they sort of led up and just kept on kicking. So there might be a fast lane there. Inflamed is an over in my mind. This is a really good horse who never really gets the true respect. And then we've got a couple of other good horses. Betty Spaghetti. Lucelle's a great horse. I just wonder about good 3 with it, and also Contemplation Bay. But it's a good addition of the TAB Southern Alps Challenge.
Yeah, it's certainly a strong field, and obviously being 18 runners, you're running for 350,000 as well. There's going to be a good genuine tempo, so it could just sort of play for those back markers. I thought Cluedo Lane led last start. It was a really good ride. Tui Haka, Inflamed, Ease back. They all got natural speed from the front there.
Yeah, you see real pressure here as well. I think it means the horses such as Matt Scott, who gets back, will find their chance. I think the Tiako pair of Stony Breck and Cognito should be somewhere just in behind the speed. They won't really be giving
especially with IP on Stony Breck this week. He'll be positive from that barrier 10.
What about Wits End, the horse you've got a bit of a share on? Where does he land?
Look, he's in a tricky spot. Obviously, hopefully he can just get a nice cruisy drag across from his outside gate, but fingers crossed he gets on a bit of cover.
Certainly we're hoping so. As we take a look at Inflamed, boy, she's just in sensational form. This is her going back to back in one of the features here. The South Island Thoroughbred Breeders beats a really nice field, and she does get the weight because of it, but she's very, very talented.
Yeah, look, she's done a little bit of work too to sit outside leader. Look, she's one of those mares. She never goes a bad race. Look, from barrier 12, Corey Campbell, he'll be positive again. He's got a good record with the horse, and you know, being Brian and Shane Anderton, they set them for these big races as well.
Absolutely. She's just flying at the moment. She's won over 1,600 metres here last time out. She'd won over 1,200 metres in a Stewards, so she's got the speed as well. And this was, on a slightly rain-affected track. Well, actually, there was a good track. It was on a rain-affected track in the Stewards, so she can do it on anything as well. So I just really like her here. 59 top weight. She's squeezing up the handicaps a little bit, so she's not actually the worst placed horse in the handicap.
Great mare, Angie. They've got this horse flying. I think 59 and the gate having to work across is a little bit difficult. Out of that race, I love the performance of Aladdin's Gem. This is a really talented horse with a good quick turn of foot. Tina goes back on after commitments in the previous start. Good gate. She'll get a nice run just in behind them, maybe 3-4 back the fence. So she will need a little bit of luck, but I think she's got the ability to be winning this race. Loose Sally, well, I'm not sure what you've always made of last start around Loose Sally. She just looked a bit proppy before the corner on me and on the good three and didn't quite hit the line. So it's a good addition. The one runner I liked out of the race, though, Aladdin's Gem outside of Inflamed.
Yeah, definitely like what you said with Loose Sally. I think she's probably one of those horses that wants a sort of soft 5 to even a heavy track. From Barry at 5, she's going to get a nice run in the race if they're positive out of the gates.
She's been busy, and she did get a fair way back, and I just got shuffled at the wrong sort of time and still hit the line okay. It's a key form race that we looked at. Even Third Decree was pretty good in that as well. But it's a form race that we're going to have to really keep our eye on.
It is, and Betty Spaghetti also come out of that race finishing 5th. Dan Fogarty caught up with Anna Furlong to see how she is.
Yeah, she's really good. We were wrapped obviously to make the field. Last year we were on the ballot, so really pleasing for the owners that we could be a part of it this year. It's been a little bit unlucky, and just where to place her has been hard if we didn't make the field, but we're in and we're really pumped.
What do you think needs to transpire this week to go her way?
I think a good gate goes a long way. The rail's back in the true, so it'll just make things a lot fairer. Just need a bit of rub of the green, don't you?
You certainly do. Another person that's got a couple of runners in, of course, is Sam Burgesson and Team Tiakau. And Aidan did catch up with Sam and just asked him how his two are enjoying racing each other down south.
Yeah, for sure. They're enjoying it down there at Riccarton with Hunter and the team and sort of knocking on the door. Cognito, he's had a little bit of a frustrating autumn so far, but I think this race really suits him and sort of having a good chat to Hunter yesterday. He was sort of the pick of the gallopers yesterday, so he's an interesting runner, and Sony Brack, he's performing well without sort of knocking off a win, but certainly gets his chance there on Saturday in an even enough race.
Yeah, so it sounds like they've both trained on okay since last time.
Yeah, for sure. You certainly can't fault them heading in. Obviously they probably need to lift a little bit to sort of get a result, but we think they can hopefully on Saturday.
Let's take you now to the White Robe Lodge. A handful of runners coming out of this, including Stony Breck, as Sam mentioned. I mean, the winner was very good here, Leith, guided by a great ride, Cluedo Lane, but there was some back markers who were eye-catching.
Yeah, a few of the jockeys might have just gone to sleep a little bit as well. They sort of gave the horse in front. It was an outsider in the race, and home track horse, he sort of skipped on the bend. Thought the run of Mascot was massive. He was really good, and he's a proven weight for age horse. Obviously, he's got 58 kilos, but I thought he's a massive chance in the race this Saturday.
Yeah, also Sir Albert was very good, especially solid late. Does come in 2 kilograms worse than Cluedo Lane, so Cluedo Lane's got that on its side. Obviously, Mascot was massive, and he won this race, I think, 2 years ago, ran 4th to Third Decree last year. So there's just enough in what we see from Matt Scott that he just peaks this time around, and geez, you can't fault the way he's running, and he's Group 1 placed in the North Island at weight for age, so he's a horse you want to respect.
Seabat was interesting to me that day. He just seemed hesitant to really go through that first little gap and then let go. I thought he's battling a bit, and then he really pinged late when Mascot came down the outside. It was a great run, Mascot. I think the horse is right up to winning it. Sir Albert's up to winning it as well. But if one gets in off the ballot, Royal Valour might be taking that as well, lads. Beating home Mascot in that race at Riccarton last start. But they're both... Well, they're the class of the race, aren't they, in my mind, Sir Albert and Mascot. If they run up to their best, they'll be very difficult to beat.
Oh, they absolutely will. As we take you to the last replay we want to have a look at, I'm sure Leith will like watching this. It's Wits End winning when dropping back to the 1400 metres. It was obviously very good this day, Leith, and I thought Texas Dolly eye-catching out wide.
Yeah, look, he was very good. Obviously, the gates against him this week. Look, I think the sweet spot for him is probably 1400 metres as well. Like he's won 7 races from 23 starts, so we might give him a little bit of credit. But he's going to find it tough this week from the gate, I think, with the top weight as well.
He's racing well, though. Geez, yeah. The stable have got him firing. And one other thing about him, like we mentioned it pre-show, like he's banked over 300,000. So he's got a good horses record. He's come out of that white robe and won since. So yeah, no knock on him. It is a bit of a tricky gate, but yeah, like you say, maybe 1600 metres might be the question.
Yeah, I'll give up. You started it with Wits End. He's actually been fantastic since he's been down south, winning 3 of his last 5. So he's won over 300,000. So he's a good horse and he's been a good money spinner for the team. But I think the gate just wipes him out this weekend.
Okay, well then, who is the one for you, Bevan? Who are you going with on top?
I'll go with Aladdin's Gem. I've loved what it did. I thought its run at Wingatui 2 starts ago to win was exceptional. It's got a really good turn of foot. Tina made some big comments about this horse post the ride and prior to that particular race on race day. The run at Riccarton I thought was fantastic and behind Inflame, 53 kilos. Tina.com. I'm going with Aladdin's Gem.
Yeah, I'm with you as well, Bevan. I'm going to go for those horses on the lighter weights, 53 kilos, maybe Diva. Look, I know she's only a 3-win horse. She's had 2 unlucky seconds. The race is going to map for a back marker to get home. And look, I'm happy to be on her at $16 and $5 each way. I'm happy. She's a really good horse, and if there's one to be hitting the line late, it could be her.
Just such an even race, and you go any number of ways, and I really respect what Bevan's saying, especially the weight swing that Aladdin's Gem does get on Inflamed. However, I'm going to buck it. I'm going to go for a horse who's going to be on speed and may have to do a little bit of early work, and that is Inflamed. Just love the way that she's just keeps on becoming a winner. She loves Riccarton, will relish this track, and I think maybe if they can get somewhere near the fence here, that if they get away with soft middle stages, hard to beat.
Okay, so that's what everybody is liking in the TAB Southern Alps. Now we're going to move on to race number 6 on the program, the NZB Insurance Stakes here for the 3-year-old fillies. Perlino favourite at $3.10. Then you've got Bon Sephora at $8.50, up to Miss Ziggy at $9. So if you're not liking the favourite here, Bevan, then you are getting value around plenty of runners.
You are. And look, Hello Hayley, we said was at a big price last start. Freshened up back to the 1200 metres, and the day just didn't suit this horse at all. Back to the mile, I think the 13s is great money about it. Ducks, I think, okay. Bonaforza didn't have a lot of luck at Trentham fresh up and has been down south and performed with a lot of credit prior.
Yeah, look, it's another good edition of the race. It's another race where it looks like it's going to be a nice, strong tempo as well for over a mile. So it does sort of play out for those horses to sit just behind the speed. Obviously, Perlino with Opie on. He'll box seat from that barrier too. Kushla Bay was good last start. Miss Starlight's got good natural speed as well.
Yeah, so we've identified those 3 main speed contenders. Ducks, I think they'll be positive enough from out wide. It was a terrific run at Ellerslie last time out. I know she's back in distance, but she was great. It means Hello Hayley does get back and will be reliant on there being genuine speed here.
Okay, so that's how the speeds are going to set up. Now, Miss Siggy did finish in behind Cashler Bay last start. Let's hear from Andrew Carson how she's going.
Yeah, really happy with her. It's been a bit of a patchy season, really. She's had a bit of bad luck and some bad barriers and so forth. But, yeah, look, she's come back from her trip north well. I thought her run at Riccarton was super last week, and she's trained on well.
And of course, a pretty solid run at the 14, up to the mile this week. She's ready to go.
Yeah, look, it's slightly concerned the 1600 metres in saying that she's only had 2 runs at the trip, and they were both at the elite level. So there's no well written this week, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, let's have a look at her here, finishing 4th. She's a runner out wide from Cashler Bay, who just set up the pace and kicked too well.
Yeah, she's been honest, Miss Ziggy. She's been up a long time, but she's one of those horses. She's a little bit difficult to ride. She just needs a gate where she can get covered up a little bit, and from barrier 12, she's going to need a bit of speed on.
Yeah, first two in running in this day with the first two home, and cool as Irene's gone on and run really well last weekend against the pattern in the Gore Guineas. So, you know, she's been rock solid, Miss Ziggy, and in really good company. So no knock on her. Cashla Bay could be a speed influence. If they don't go too hard, then maybe with a soft run, she's a contender.
Yeah, Cashla Bay, she's been going well. I just thought the mile was a little bit maybe a bit tricky for her.
Yeah.
Look, they might just ride it just a fraction off the speed. If she leads and gets an easy lead, she'll be okay. But yeah, good runs in the race.
Certainly wasn't it? Look, the rail goes back in, doesn't it? The rail was out a long way that day, and so therefore the rail was really, really hot. I'm not sure if it's going to be. We've had some pretty tricky tricks to preview over the last couple of weeks on a Thursday, but I think Cashla Bay, you're right, lads, will find that positive position. I think Miss Ziggy, I know the well-written thing didn't quite work out, but I think the mile will actually suit her. She's a little bit niggly to ride, but Kylie Williams does know her pretty well, and with the right trip, she can win this race, so she's right up to it.
Okay, let's hear from Sam Burgesson now around his two fillies, Perlino and Ashiteru.
Yeah, she's an interesting runner, Ashiteru, obviously coming back from a bit of a freshen up after a good win over 2,000 metres. Probably look for her more in the war step than on Saturday, but it's a nice lead-in and certainly deserves her chance. And Perlino, she's going really well. It was a good, tough win there last time in 65 grade, and certainly hope she can draw a barrier. She hasn't had a lot of luck her last two starts. She's been trapped wide, but still going really good races. So two nice fillies who, you know, certainly deserve their chance at Blacktop.
And you even go back 3 starts to the maiden one was terrific with Perlino too. She looks like she's really competitive here, right?
Yeah, she's really sort of gone to the next level, heading down to the Riccarton base hunter, and the team have done a really good job with her. She went down there, pretty green filly who hadn't done a lot here up north, but certainly found her groove now and keeps going from strength to strength, so fingers crossed that can continue on Saturday.
And you hit the nail on the head saying it was brave, because she was wide right throughout here and she just kept on finding to beat them.
Yeah, he got a couple of things right there. He got a nice gate and barrier too as well, exactly. Sam, so he's going good at seeing things in the future. But look, she's a big improver, and the best thing is Opie gets on her this week as well, and we know how many races he's won for Tiakau. She just maps to get a lovely spot in the race as well. Yeah,
so she's flanked that Southland Guineas run with wins either side. The only thing was, Hello Haley sort of had it fairly well covered. So did Kwai Sierra in that middle league. It was actually the Dunedin Guineas. So maybe does she need to improve a little bit off that? I know she's had a bit of a tough run, but you know, those other fillies, you know, they got something. The prices, I just couldn't get her that short.
No, you're right. The price is wrong. There's no doubt about that. It does take a good 3-odd filly to win a 65. That's what I will say. But it was pretty much on speed on the 21st with the rail out that far. And you go back through this field, you know, Hello Haley had Perlino quite nicely covered, albeit Perlino didn't have a lot of luck in the run on that occasion. I've got a sneaking suspicion Hello Haley might just want a little bit more cut out of the track as well. So I think it's too short when you've got other horses like Miss Ziggy and Bonaforza in this particular race. Here's Miss Starlight. I thought great this day at Riccarton, but it was just a difficult day to make any sort of ground if you win in the first 3 in the run. And I think we spoke, Aidan and I, before this race saying, oh, she'll be fine, she'll freshen up nicely, there'll be good tempo in the race. Well, with the way the track played, you never expected Hello Haley to really do anything in that particular race, but getting back up to the mile, I think she is right in the mix, boys.
Yeah, obviously definitely a forgive run there. Those horses that were on speed, they had a big advantage. And like you said, Bevan, it was only 1,200 metres. 2 sweet spots a mile, for sure.
Yeah, and she gets back up to that this time round with you know, a race shape that on paper looks to suit ideally. How's she at $13? You know, it seems ridiculous, and we've said this about her, you know, a few times. This race shapes a whole lot better than what the Gore Guineas did last weekend, and we were super keen leading into the Dunedin Guineas, so I can't believe the price. I think she's the best value on the day. Yeah,
and if you've backed her previously, you've got to follow your money and go again,
exactly.
Lee. So you're going that way?
I'm actually going for the CD horse, Bill Furlow, Sam O'Malley, Ducks. I just love this setup. Her run in the Oaks was a Group 1 race at Alizé, 2,400 metres, dropped back to a mile. There's a little bit of timing. Matt Cameron on barrier 10, she's going to land to the midfield, and I like her price, $9 and $3 a place.
You've got to be respecting her, but also watching her because she's going to be really potent in the Wall Step Stakes, you'd think as well. I'm with Hello Hayley. I can't believe the money. I've just gone and backed her as well, and I think she'll be making amends. She was so good in the two earlier runs to the Southland and Dunedin Guineas, and if she gets back to that form, I think she's got an edge on this field.
Yeah, I'll be backing her again. She's been very kind to me on the punt. Hello, Hayley, and she is my top selection. I did want to make mention of Bonaforza, who he was a little bit unlucky, fresh up at Trentham, albeit down the chute, was caught wide in the run and just blew out a little. But I think an improving horse down there as well, and each way chance as well.
That's what everyone's liking for the 3-year-olds. Now let's move to race number 3, the Property Brokers Welcome Stakes for the 2-year-olds at listed level. Never Too Much favourite, narrowly at $3.30 from He's a Rockstar at $3.40 and Enchantment at that quote as well. And based on what they've done, I suppose they are the deserved 3 in the market, although final times looked eye-catching at the trial swings.
Taken by eye-catching, not just the debut win at Wingatui, but the trial in recent times. He's a Rockstar, has looked a little bit like that in a couple of runs at Riccarton, and has covered a couple of different track conditions. Never Too Much for the Walker and Burgess, and will always take a lot of money, and did run on nicely last start. But I just think there's a bit of value around final time myself.
Look, obviously, look, the 1,200 metres is going to suit her. It does look like there's going to be a nice bit of speed with Outback Girl. He's a Rockstar. Lifeline time's probably going to get back from 1. It hasn't got that great a speed out of the gates. And final time from 7. I thought they'll just be patient and just let it get into a nice rhythm.
Yeah, that's the way I saw it as well. I think they'll be positive with Enchantment as well, but these other horses should just sit in behind them. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward map on paper.
Okay, Tiako's got the 2-pronged attack. Let's hear from Sam how his fillies have trained on since last start.
Yeah, Enchantment was a really good run there last time. She's trained on well. She's not overly big, but she's really tough and gritty sort of filly. She looked the winner the whole way up the straight there, and probably was all but the line. So, yeah, she's trained on well. She'll take good benefit from that, and obviously certainly gets her chance in a small field. And Never Too Much, he had no luck there last time, sort of blocked for a run a couple of times and just didn't have a nice sort of flowing run up the straight there. So hoping for a change in fortune with him, but certainly can't fault them both there at home.
This is a small nomination. It means they fit into it pretty nicely, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Great opportunity at black type for both of them, and you know, obviously, like you say, small fields should get their chance, but sometimes those small fields can be a little bit tricky. So hopefully not, but they're both going well.
You just know who's really in it here with He's a Rockstar and Enchantment in the end. But you do have to wonder, I suppose, if Never Too Much got the gap through, how close he could have finished as well.
That's the way I saw it. You can see the horse there just in behind them, looking for a run between runners. Can't get it, has to be drawn off heels and come 5 wide, and then comes home with the second quickest last 200 of the race. At this point, Enchantment looked as though it was home. He's a Rockstar, has come back and fought really strongly and just missed, but I thought there was enough improvement here and Never Too Much to think it's a contender and should be able to turn the tables on both of them.
Yeah, obviously unlucky. Gets a nice gate in gate 4, Opie on as well, so they'll be positive. Look, He's a Rockstar. It's great for Jamie Bullard. He's flying down there. He's only got a sort of half a dozen horses in work, and they're all winning at the moment. So, you know, for him to get a horse in a listed race where he's a big sort of horse, He's a Rockstar. He's probably more of a 3-year-old type, but he's definitely a top 2 chance.
Look, I agree, lads. Never Too Much was a little bit unlucky, but I did love He's a Rockstar, the way that the other horse went past him, and then Katie Hurcock was just kidding to him a bit, and he just came back and probably had it quite nicely covered at the line. Never Too Much looked as though he'll get better as he gets over a little bit further to my eye, but yeah, I thought He's a Rockstar was great, but...
Absolutely, you can see why it's right in the market, but so has been final time. As you said, obviously on debut, but Aidan, you've highlighted the trial a few times here for the Parsons. It looks very special. Yeah,
that fresh up win was good. I think it had one run where it was well beaten on debut. But trial was good leading into the Wingatui win, and then really good last time out as well. So it gets to Riccarton where this trial was, and yeah, there's so much upside about her. She's out of final touch. And the Parsons do such a good job as well, so real upside.
Yeah, obviously she's not bred to be a 2-year-old either, but she's got the breeding on her side, like you said, final touch, won a Group 1 race. There's something about her, I've got her on top this week. I reckon could be a group horse in the making. It's going to come down to a little bit of tempo. She's a big girl, she's got to get into a nice rhythm, but I've definitely got her on top.
Man, I was blown away that she ran 59.99, looking as though she was doing a little bit of track work there. So I think she can run the time. She'll be my top selection in the race. I think the price at $5.50 is very much takeable. Boys have mentioned the breeding factors. Mum was a great Group 1 sprinter, and this might be another horse going to that sort of grade.
I've been with her the whole time, Final Touch. Trials both sides of her debut win. But this time round, I just think never too much. The setup is right. No luck last time out. Gets Opie Boston going on, replacing the apprentice last time out. I just don't think we're going to see this horse be unlucky this time round. And with the right run, I thought never too much was the horse to beat.
Yeah, I'm with Final Time as well. Swings $5.50. Look, she gets a 2 kilo swing off your horse, Never Too Much as well, Rod. And I'm happy. I'm happy for the $5.50 on offer.
Okay, so that's what everyone's liking in the features. Now we want to have a quick look at the Open over the 1,200 metres here. Race number 7 headed up by Spot on Time, resuming at $4.50. Has the big weight though, Lee. So who are you picking out in this race?
I'm with Texas Dolly. It sort of maps to get a nice run in the race with a little bit of tempo there. Michael McNabb on this week, and yeah, she's $5. She's been knocking on the door when she deserves a win, I thought.
Yeah, for mine, I was really taken by the first up effort from a horse racing well out of its grade in Master Brutus. It's a really nice start to the career in the South, and I thought nicely placed here again. I didn't think there was too many there's nothing that's gone against the horse leading into this one anyhow.
I'll go with Texas Dolly against Master Brutus. I think Texas has been just knocking on the door. She is a good mare, and I think with Michael McNabb aboard that she can get the job done.
Okay, so Texas Dolly for Bevan in the sprint. Now, something else on the program to follow, Leith, please?
Look, I'm going to go early, Pup. Student of War. He's been knocking on the door for a while. Matt Cartwright's got a strong book of rides for the Michael and Matt Pittman stable this week, and I thought he's a bit of an improvement in him, and he's due a win.
Yep, definitely has the ability. I went to race 4 and just found one at a big price, Vivacious. Couldn't believe you're getting $15 about a horse who last time out was chasing home Wits End. Gets back into 75 company where this horse beat home Iron Hawk 2 starts back. Just at $15, just the pricing crazy. So race 4, Vivacious.
Okay, to me, I'll be early on in the program as well, and I'll go Filter. I think this horse is probably building to a win. I thought its last start performance was pretty good. So Filter for me in race number 4.
Okay, there you go. So that completes our look at Riccarton on the feature day. Hopefully we've found you plenty of winners as we take you to a break. On the form of the other side, we concentrate in on Otaki. And our second domestic meeting is in the Kapiti Coast this weekend as we look forward to the Hawke's Bay features. Bevan, weather and track-wise, is it a little bit nicer in your neck of the woods than up here in the north?
Well, it's certainly been okay, but they did get close to 40 mils yesterday, which has put the track out to a heavy 8. There's a few showers forecast for today as well, and then a cracking day tomorrow and a cracking day on Saturday. So I don't think, more than likely not in the heavy 8 range, but I wouldn't expect it to be getting into a good 4 range either. So somewhere as soft 6, soft 7 might be the best we can expect if the rain does come today.
Okay, so that's the type of form you want to be doing as we take you to the first feature, race number 7 on the card here. The New Zealand Punter of the Year at Hawke's Bay Spring Carnival Hawke's Bay Cup. Savoir Faire, $4.60 favourite from Freddie Time, Pacifico, Cinnamon and a Power Jack. Look, it's an open affair. It is, of course, over the 2,000 metres. So how do you see the speed setting up, team?
Look, it's going to be a nice tempo. A Power Jack from barrier 11 will go forward. Pacifico. Cinnamon's probably another one that can go forward from barrier 2. A-Rod, it sort of does set up. He's a shocker, was a lot better last start at Ellerslie. Thrilling's probably another one that's probably going to get back from the draw.
Yeah, the first 2 favourites, Savoir Faire and Freddie Time, have both got wide draws. Yeah. They're really going to have to both take their medicine and get back. But that's typically how they run. It's just whether there's enough tempo here, especially with the rain-affected track.
Okay, one of the horses right in the market is Savoir Faire, looking for 3 straight. And Aidan did catch up with Sam Burchison, just asked him about his performances since coming back to NZ.
Yeah, he's really enjoying it, being back in New Zealand. He's really found his form, and he's in a good rhythm here, and seems to be, he's trained on well and really enjoying it at the moment. So long may it continue. He's not the most genuine at times, so hope he can, he's full of confidence and can just keep going on with it.
Yeah, how does this race sort of fit for him?
Yeah, really nicely, I think. Works nicely from Pukekohe there last time. Obviously down to Otaki, there should be a little bit of give in the track, which we think suits him as well. And just having a look at the nominations there, he should get in nicely enough at the weights under the handicap conditions. So fingers crossed he can carry on.
Let's have a look at him here, winning at Pukekohe, beating obviously Cinnamon and Lavakia, who's now franked this form as well. He had the lightweight, but he had to get out and did it brilliantly.
Yeah, it's a really good ride this day as well. She's just sort of taken her time and slowly got out. He's well weighted. Again, he gets in with 53.5, only half above the minimum. The gate's a little bit tricky, but he's one of those horses. He's probably better ridden a little bit quiet and cold as well.
I think that's been the key to him, isn't it? Just kidding to him, as you heard there from Sammy. He might have a trick or two, but he's won his last two. He's beaten Lavakia, who's franked that form with a terrific win at Ellerslie last week. So he's going well enough. No knock on.
Well, it's just price for me. I think he's too short. I think there's some other outstanding prices in this particular race outside of Savo Fair and probably Cinnamon. They're two good chances in the race, but I think there's better value shopping elsewhere.
And we'll wait to find out who that is. But for now, let's hear from Stephen Marsh around Cinnamon, who came out of that race.
Yeah, really good. He's had a great campaign. Probably hasn't had everything go right for him, but he's still done a very good job. I think he's a really progressive stayer, and he's even going to get better. I think next year you'll see him in some really nice cups and been very competitive. But this will be his last run for the campaign. He's worked up well. He worked up over ground on Tuesday. He'll just have a little breeze up on Thursday and he'll head down Friday. And yeah, I think it looks a very even sort of a field. No standouts, but I think he's right up to it.
It has to be based off of that effort. As we take you now to the Alpine Gold Cup, another key lead-in race here. Bevan and Napawa Jack was really good, and so was Crouch late in the piece.
Yeah, so was Crouch at that price. He's been fantastic across his last start runs. Freddie Time's a real emerging star, and I think he is the one that you want to look for as we go forward into next season. I thought he was fantastic here. Power Jack is getting fitter and fitter and almost toughed this out. But again, this is a day where if you went in the inside couple of lanes, you were probably out of the mix. So Crouch was actually really good against the pattern. So outside of Freddie Time, I really do think Crouch was the one to watch and watch very closely.
Yeah, Crouch was good, and he's probably overs at that price, and probably the cut in the track with the bit of rain probably suits him as well, Sweens.
Yeah, and he's won at Otaki as well. He's got home on a very similar. He won fresh up at a mile from memory at the beginning of last preparation, so he's been there and done it, and he's going well. Fit horse.
And considering, not only they didn't get the rub of the green there, he's coming in, 2.5 kilograms better than Opawa Jack, 1.5 kilograms better than Freddie Time. Maybe he is the horse who's just slipped under the radar here.
Yeah, worth a bet by the sounds of things. Well, Andrew Forsman also has Pacifico in the race. Let's find out how he's going.
He's going really well, obviously in good form, last start winner. Probably the query is the distance and left-handed. I think he's much happier, more comfortable right-handed, but for lack of other options, it's worth a go.
Yep, he steps up in both grade and distance. What are your expectations?
Yeah, it's hard to know. Look, he has won over a middle distance before. This is different class or different company as to what he's beaten over this distance before. So it's really just a test to see whether he is a genuine staying prospect or if we're better to freshen him up and keep him at a mile.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of question marks around Pacifico. Who's the one for you, Leith, in the race?
Look, I really like Freddie Time. The gate's tricky, barrier 17. He's probably short enough at $6.50, but look, he's won twice at the course from 3 starts. He's a promising stayer in a really even sort of Hawke's Bay Cup field.
Yeah, it is even. I've gone with Sunset Boulevard. He's won 4 of his last 7. He was really good at New Plymouth last time out when the first 2 were home with the first 2 in running with the first 2 home, and he's come from last. It was a really nice run. He's a little bit of an unknown getting up to 58 kilograms in a race like this, but I was happy to be with him.
Yeah, I think his price is outstanding. I'm going with Sunset Boulevard as well. If you want to see a set-up run, and I thought it was for the St Ledger, it was the run at New Plymouth. They took him back, rode him very negatively when he generally does go forward Sunset Boulevard, and he's boomed home late. Freebell won that day. He went around in the St Ledger and went a cracking race as well. He's a very good stayer. I think he'll be ridden positively. Any cut in the track will not hurt him. Don't forget to throw in Procol Boy in your top fours. I thought he was possibly the run of the day at Trentham back on the 28th against the Pattern.
Okay, you heard it here first. As we move now from the Hawke's Bay Cup to the City of Napier Sprint listed level here, where Kitty Flash resumes and is your favourite for Andrew Forsman, backed in from $5.50, Platinum Attack at $5 and Poetic Champion at $6. What are you making of this market, Sweens, considering we're seeing other runners drift out from their prices?
Oh, this is a headache. I went with Platinum Attack early and then the rain has come. That's put me off him. I didn't think it was a good setup for him, but then you see the speed in this race and you think, well, maybe those senior horses can get home across the top of them. But Kitty Flash is the mover. I don't think he gets the lead, lads, because there's a power of speed in this race.
Yeah, it's a really good sort of open sprint. Obviously, it's going to come down to tactics a little bit. With a little bit of rain round, look, there's probably potential. 3 natural leaders, Idyllic from the inside gate, barrier 3. Shoes is another one. I thought they were a little bit negative last start. From 12, they'll go forward this time. Does sort of map for Kitty Flash to just sort of get a nice, perfect run in the race.
We've got Slipper on and quite handy. I think that's more just about a horse taking advantage of a barrier draw. I don't know if they'll be that close, but a horse is racing really well. And Kitty Flash should get a lovely run there as well. I think they'll be positive with Navigator too.
We mentioned Navigator. Cody Cole's got the 4 chances in. Let's start with Navigator and see how he's tracking.
Good, the big fella's good. He's Jill just ticked him over. He just doesn't really want too much rain. Looks like they were going to get away with it at Otaki and not get too much.
Yep. Obviously, he's just holding his form, and he's been so good all preparation. Be nice to pick this one off, though.
Yeah, look, it's been a while between drinks for him, and just the weight's obviously catching up with him. But he doesn't give Platinum Attack that weight start that he did last time.
Yep. How's his training been?
Good. He always works well. The big fella. He's very seldom puts in a bad gallop.
Talk to us about Anira. How's this one going?
Yeah, look, she was disappointing down there last time. We just drew a line through that and hope for a little bit more easing in the ground there at Otaki for her sake. And if she can draw a gate and be in behind them somewhere, she's got a really good sprint, but she does need to be quite close to them.
What about Rareza? Obviously, the form's okay.
Yeah, look, we tried her on a couple of tracks that were probably too quick for her into last preparation. It's just made her form look no good, but she was obviously placed down in the Taranaki Breeders fresh up last prep, and we gave her a jump out a couple of weeks ago, and her work's been really, really good.
Okay, yeah. What's been the most encouraging part of that?
Just the way she's come back. You know, she's just she's a mare that's still quite untapped, and I think she's going to get in there on a lightweight, and with a bit of rain around, she could find herself well competitive.
Miss Jones, a little bit touch and go to make that field, but she's holding her form terrific. How's she going?
Yeah, look, she's continued to work well. She's come such a long way in one preparation, from winning a maiden to running fourth in a Lightning. You know, she's come a hell of a long way. It'll be the next run, wherever she goes, if she doesn't get a start, will be her last one before she heads to the paddock for a break. But she's got a nice winner in the future.
She certainly does. As we take you now to the Lightning Handicap, where Platinum Attack was brilliant on this occasion, beating a bold Navigator, Bevan, but he does come up with that horror draw this time.
Well, I don't think it... Well, of course it does matter, I suppose, but when I first looked at this, I thought not the right setup for him. Then I looked at all the speed in the race, and I thought, well, he can probably win. If he gets a good deck, I don't think he gets a good a deck as he needs. Navigator's great. The one I'm really interested in, I hope it gets in the field, is Tri-Star. I think it'll love a bit of cut out of the track, but if it was a firm deck, lads, and it was really hard run, I think it'd still make his present Platinum Attack.
Yeah, I think he tipped him out that day at Wellington last time when he won as well. Sweens, look, he needs a good track, simple as that. I can't have him if he's soft. If it gets back to sort of soft 5 maybe, 58.5 kilos, and like you said, Tri-Star only needs one more scratching to get in the field, and I think she's a danger, especially on the off track.
I think it's a key form race. Obviously, if it does come back, that's got to be a little bit dubious. Then Platinum Attack would be there. But even so, Navigator's got a better rain-affected record and comes in 2 kilograms better after chasing him down. He's a horse who's been placed in a telegraph, and although he's got a bit of a niggly barrier draw, Navigator's well capable of winning this.
He certainly is. Well, Poetic Champion came out of that race and was a little bit disappointing. So let's hear from Tony Pike how he's going and his other charge.
Yeah, really happy with both of them. Old Slipper Island, he's been really consistent right throughout the season, an old stable favourite, and yeah, look, he was probably a bit unlucky at Trentham last start. Just got squeezed out of the gates early and probably ended up a spot further back than we wanted to, but closed the race off really well. He's going to be well weighted again on Saturday, and look, he's knocking on the door to get one of these good sprints. So Yeah, he's going to be genuine each way chance. Paddock champion, he had a torrid run down there, just up on speed, got taken on, and it was a bit disappointing overall, but he's bounced through that well, back round a corner, and probably with a slightly more conservative ride, he'll be right in the finish.
What about training here at Cambridge this week? What have you asked of them?
Look, they're both pretty deep into their preps and pretty fit, so we've just kept them ticking over quietly. They both work nicely on Tuesday morning, and get really happy with them heading into Saturday.
Okay, so Buttle reports they're working well. Leith, what are your thoughts on his chances?
Yeah, I thought Slipper Island's probably a better chance from barrier 1 if it does sort of stay in that sort of soft range. Poetic Champion got softened up the whole race, so he was a forgive last start. He does go better fresh though. He's obviously third up, but I thought of the two runners, I thought Slipper Island just on top of those two.
Yeah, they both seem to be going well. Slipper Island's really holding his form, and from the inside, if the inside holds up okay, drops 1.5 kilograms, so meets what Platinum Attack 3.5 kilograms off, better off for being beaten 3 lengths last time out, and you're just going to be a little bit forgiving of Poetic Champion, but you make a good point about the fresh record, as much as Tony Pike said it was a little bit circumstantial.
I think Slipper Island's the better of the two, actually, just from the gates. I think he might get a beautiful suck run and just in behind them, and he's well capable of winning a race. Look, as far as the selection, I went with Platinum Attack this morning. I've changed my mind, and I need one more scratching to try start into the field. I think the cut out of the track will be perfect. I think the gate will find him in a nice slot, of her in a nice slot. The mare by Exceedance, and I thought she was fantastic behind Platinum Attack, so I've gone with her. I've got off Platinum Attack, so you know what to do.
Okay, yeah, we certainly do. But just before we get the other two teams' selections, let's hear from Andrew Forsman. He's got a good hold in this race and see how his runners are tracking.
Yep, both going very well too. We just have to hope. It's a big, even, competitive-looking field, so they'll need good barrier draws and they should get their chance.
Obviously, Force of Nature's proven on wet tracks in the past, and obviously he's a horse of real ability. How's he going in?
He's going great. He's that sort of horse who wants it in that sort of slow range would be ideal. He'll get away with one probably good track run first up in his preparation, but we've only given him the one trial. He goes better when he's a little bit fresh anyway, so happy with how he's worked into it.
We've seen a real class factor around the Kitty Flash. How's she going?
She's going great, very happy with her. She's had a couple of trials. Probably just a horse that does need things her own way in front a little bit. She's just better when she's rolling and in a bit of a rhythm, so a good barrier draw is vital for her. Yep.
Okay, so there you go, Kitty Flash, and you know with her, that little bit of cut out of the track's fine.
Yeah, exactly, and she's got a nice enough gate where 7, there's so much speed in the race, she's going to get a nice sort of run in transit. Like Andrew said, she's had 2 trials under her belt as well, and Craig Grills is, he's doing it tough, I'd say, 53 kilos this week as well.
Yeah, she's high class, so well worth it. Even Force of Nature, on his best form, had to be competitive too.
Leith, so who's with you?
Look, I only go Kitty Flash. I thought the market had it wrong, Pip. They opened her up at $5.50, and she's into $2.80 now. She's probably short enough at $2.80, but I thought it was a winnable race for her, especially fresh up with 53 kilos.
Yeah, I agree. She's got to be hard to beat. I've gone with Navigator though. Really like what was seen from this horse, and maybe you can round up this preparation with a good one.
Okay, that's a look at the features. Now we need something else to follow, Leith. Who are we backing?
2-year-old race, Pip, race 2, Neance, having her first start at Tarzino filly. Look, her trial 2 starts ago was really good at Taupo. She was first. There's a horse that runs second was Amaret, that won the first race at Ellerslie last week.
Yeah, okay, like that. I'm going to go to race 4 to Ashoka, who was desperately unlucky last time out. With a clear run, would have gone very close to winning. Second up with a natural improvement. Ashoka at, I think, what are you getting, $8.50 on the boost at the moment.
I'm in the same race. I'm with East End Lad. How are you getting $23 around East End Lad, who was fresh up third behind London? I'm not sure. London's a very smart horse. One short smashed them. Second up at Woodville last preparation. I see Hunty's already had a bet. It's 23. Might even be 17 now. So I'm with East End Lad in race number 4.
Okay, maybe we just take the Quinella then if we're both playing in that race. That completes our look at Otaki. From there, we've had our spies out at the trials, finding you a couple to follow. Leith, who did you get for us?
Look, I take back to Ellerslie. Belle Rebelle, this is a Donald Logan trained horse here. Look, she had one trial. She went to Pukekohe. She won first start. just a little bit of like about her. She's got a nice bit of scope about her, and like she balanced up here and she won quite easy in the end. And look, she's running next Saturday in a listed 2-year-old race at Alizé.
Okay, yeah, I think that's the Starway Stakes, isn't it? So it should be a good race too. A lot of 2-year-olds. I've gone outside the 2-year-olds just to bring you this one. Getaway was able to get to the speed and win nicely in a nice time. Just one that I thought was worth pasting into the hat on this performance. Yeah, there's enough in this to say competitive when we see it at the races next time around.
I'll go Heat 7 Foxton last Thursday, and horse having its first trial in Izzy for Joe Rathbone. Now, this trial was quicker than the open handicap prior to it, quite markedly, where I'm a Brazen won in Idyllic with the first 2 home. Loved the way this horse rolled to the line at its first trial race day. 3-year-old by Circus Maximus for Joe Rathbone. Great to see Lily back on Monday. She rode this horse in this particular trial, and gee, I think it'll improve. Nice horse in the making for Joe Rathbone.
Okay, there you go. And there is our trial files. Make sure you note them down. We've had plenty really appearing at the races and picking up winners of late. From there, we are going to take you to another break on the form. Don't go far, though. Day 2 of the championships. We'll be taking a look at those up next.
It don't matter where we come from or where we go. Baby, we've been searching for it way too long.
Pleasure to have your company on the form this morning, and it's now time for our black bookers of horses that have caught the eye. Leith, who's we found?
Last week, Pip, a really strong sort of maiden 1,200 metres. You'll see Utopia Warrior in front there, had a really nice run in the transit, and Deprived just got held up at a vital stage, and to run the horse down to a head, it's just flying here, and it's a race winner in the waiting, Rod?
Yeah, sure is. Nice performance too, and I've got one from the same program. This was a race that really favoured the swoopers. Solid Gold's out wide, doing some very good work. Modelo comes from second last, and Hidden Run comes from last. They're all swooping down the outside. This horse closer in. Let's Wish Upon a Star. I thought, especially late, having a run closer to the speed was terrific. So one I want to be on next time round.
Yeah, I think Clarence from that program is one to follow as well, but I'll take you to Whanganui on whatever day it was it Sunday or Saturday, and Port Rush with Jay Riddell aboard. This horse was really unlucky, and he actually had a torrid trip in behind them. I think it's the next up winner with probably Amber aboard.
Looks it, and I'm taking you down to Riccarton on Saturday. This is Torchum for Ebony Turner. Really good late. Was actually held up, but once up the home straight, has hit the line strongly. I have a feeling actually may be sold. No longer down as the trainer there on Love Racing. But look, either way, really good performance. If we see Torchum step out again, I think a real follows. We take you to the summary. There you go. Deprive, Let Us Wish Upon a Star, Port Rush and Torchum are our black bookers. From there, it's time to concentrate in on day 2 of the championships, and there is so much to get through. So let's start with race number 9, the Queen Elizabeth Stakes here. As we take a look at the market, there she is, Autumn Glow $1.45, just pushing out a touch from $1.40. Got Sir Delius there at $6.50 and Aliana at $7. Leith, the money coming in there, I see, for Dubai Honour.
Yeah, look, he's an interesting runner. You know, he's an iron horse. He only just got run down last start by Aliana late, and look, they'll know he's there. Autumn Glow's obviously there. If there is a question mark, first time at 2,000 metres. She's going for 12 from 12, though. Look, she's something special. I know Chris Waller he was a little bit worried that going into the race, if Pride of Jenny was in the race, not that she couldn't beat Pride of Jenny, but it really hurts those horses, and he didn't want it to have not a gut buster, but he just wanted it to bounce out of the race as a fresh horse. So he was more than happy that when they went to the Queen of the Turf of Pride of Jenny.
Yeah, exactly. It's a quality field, and as you expect for 5 million and weight for age, that is a really good race. I think there's nothing between sort of Dubai Honour, Sir Delius and Aliana, but you know, this mare, Autumn Glow, might be just the next level. She looks like a real star. Yeah, we want to just see her keep on winning as well. As we move now to the Queen of the Turf, race number 8 on the card. There's Treasure of the Moment, heads the betting, $4 into $3.70. Lady Shenandoah, $3.50, pushing the other way out to $3.90 from Pride of Jenny. There she is at $4.60, who went so close last time. Leith, who's the one for you in the Group 1?
I think the market's got it wrong. I thought Pride of Jenny should have been favourite. Obviously, she only went down a nose in the Australian Cup, and look, she's just so tough. From barrier 1, looks like she's going to land on a good track this Saturday as well. And I'm happy with the $4.60. I think she was definitely the number 1 pick for me.
She's performed well in Sydney in the past, and we know where she's going to get. But True to the Moment was terrific in that Sunline Stakes last time out. That was her 11th win in 18 starts. Has been to Randwick once before for a win, and I just love her. I think she's a winner, and I think she'll continue to be a winner this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be one heck of a race as we move now to the Sydney Cup, race number 7 on the program at Group 1 level again. Mr Monaco, $5.50 favourite from Campidelino at $7. River of Stars at $8. So this is more open, Leith. I see there's a bit of money for Machine Gun Gracie here. Who's you liking?
Yeah, look, it's a even sort of field, Pip. Obviously a 2-mile race. It was good to see a new look for Trent and Natalie Young win last Saturday. Gets in with 51 kilos. Look, I thought the Go Racing horse, Solus Spain, he's been set for this race. Tommy Berry's stuck with him the whole way. He's on the drift, he's out to $9.50, and I just think at 2 miles, he's just going to lap it up.
Yep, drops 4.5 kilograms out of the Tancred last time out. So it does meet River of Stars slightly better. River of Stars did run 4th in the Melbourne Cup and is now 4th run back, having gone 1,400, 2,000, 2,400, and her run for 4th in behind Aliana Dubai Gold was terrific last time. I just really like her. I love her setup, and I think she'll be competitive in all these staying races that she heads to.
Okay, both paying a really good price too. As we move on to race number 5, the Australian Oaks here, where Ohope wins. There she is, $2.20, just pushing to $2.35 in the market, profoundly at $3.50. What did you make of Ohope wins, Leith?
Look, it was a pass mark. I think there was a couple of little niggling problems. Apparently her work on Tuesday was back to where it was. They're really happy how she's going. Probably short enough at $2.35. She was backed unbeatable first up in the Vinery, and obviously Belchevelle won. I thought the run of After Summer in the race was a horse that really looks like it's going to eat up 2,400 metres, and I'm happy to be on her this week at $9 and $2.50 a place.
And she went so well in that Belchevelle race, and obviously there was the inquiry. Exactly, so there wasn't much between them. You just wonder whether Ohope wins is better for the first up run in Sydney. We're still beaten less than a length, and we know her quality from her Oaks win here.
Yeah, we certainly do, and hopefully she can fly the flag still for the Kiwis, and that does complete our look at Randwick. From there, it's time for our bank builders to try and build you a bank to back into all of these races. Leith, have you got for us?
Christmas again, Pip. Happens every year when these highweights start, and you get Troy Harris on. He's a Group 1 rider, riding in highweights, and Cody Cole's sponsoring the race. Race to it, Waverley. See smart. Look, I just can't believe the odds. $5.50. I'm all over it.
Okay, like that. And Troy's he's pretty full of himself at the moment.
Mate, he's fit. He's rearing to go. Yeah. We see it every season. These highweights. He's worth 2 lengths.
Yeah.
And he's at set weights. It's a gift.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take you to the second at Riccarton, where I really like Leinster for the Lennox family. Terrific last time out. I know there's been a few issues through the preparation, but just looks to be on the cusp of something here.
I'll take you to the last at Waverley tomorrow. Same race multi. Casino is a smart little mare. Things went against at Trentham last start, so forgive that. Take her top 2 in Hard to Think's look very good at the trials, was placed fresh up last preparation. I think Hard to Think's going well, so I'll take him in the top 3, so Casino, Hard to Think.
Okay, like it, there you go. Hopefully we've found you some bank builders to build a nice kitty into the weekend's racing. As we take you to a break, it's time for our best bets off the other side. Welcome back into the form. Now, it's a little bit of a different change for the race cover this week because it's a massive night on Friday with Night of Champions at Cambridge Raceway. And there she is, the star mare, Kihang Zahara, looking to take on the Kiwis and win once again on New Zealand soil. So make sure you do pick up your edition of the race form. You'll find all of those races for the Night of Champions and, of course, all of the thoroughbred action upcoming this week. And speaking of thoroughbred action, let's find out what the trainers are liking this week.
I'm going to go to the Frenchman if he goes to Waverley.
I've only got the one in. It's Waverley on Friday. A mare called Perugia. She was the last start winner down there, so she's done well. Should be good chance, 1, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I've made him a few times before, but I'm going to have to go Airpark Hustler again. I thought he went really good down at Riccarton. It was, as we all know, it was a bit of an on-speed. Barrier 1 bias the other day, and he's come from off their backs, went to them, just couldn't go past them, but he seems to save his best for Riccarton. It's the only place he's won at, and we think he's ready to win here again.
Look, I think off her last start, Stephanos Queen, fresh up, won really nicely. I think she'll go close again.
We Warrior of War, just on sheer ability. I think she'd be a bit smart for most of them.
Be Spartan this week. He tries hard and he's been going good races lately.
Best of the week, Master Brutus, open 1200 metres. He won really good first up down here, and he's trained on well, so happy with him.
I really like Cognoscenti over the 2000. I believe he can go back to back.
Walking in Memphis.
I'll go Ashoka at Otaki in the 65 1200. Very unlucky last start at Counties, never saw daylight and finished just in behind them, full of runnings. So with any luck on Saturday, should be going close.
We're a bit keen on Evercharm. Look, we've done a lot of things different with him. We've brought him back to a mile. We've got side blinkers on him. He's worked up really well here, done a fair bit of jumping and dressage. So hopefully it turns him round, and hopefully he can run well for the team.
I'm going to put a bit of pressure on myself here and say part-time lover, provided it doesn't rain too much on Sunday there at Te Rapa. She's been working really well and jumped out a couple of weeks ago really nicely.
Yeah, obviously it'll be interesting with the weather, but us, a mare that does love it is Zantabulous, and she's in at Te Rapa there on Sunday. She goes well at Te Rapa, likes a bit of rain, and she's in good form.
There you go. I think I'll be following Zantabulous with the rain that is forecast for that Te Rapa meeting. So Cody probably not quite getting the condition he wants there with part-time lover, but there's plenty to follow, and you have to agree with Tony Pike there around Ashoka. It looks a nice play.
Yeah, it certainly does. Definitely unlucky last start, and down to Otaki should be hard to beat.
Should be.
Right, well, give us a best bet now, please, Leith. Who are we following for
I'm
you?
going to take you back to Randwick, Pip. Saturday, the Oaks. I thought after summer, look, she just looks like a natural horse who's going to get into 2,400 metres. You can see here there's a little bit of interference. You see the length and stride on her. She was never going to get as close as she did, and I just think there's a bit of timing about her, and I'm happy to be on her at that sort of $9. Even she's sort of drifting, she might get out to 10, 12s, 13s.
Okay, like that, against the better judgment of my colleagues, I'm going to go against their top selection and make Never Too Much my best of the day. Goes around the Welcome Stakes. Opie Boston to ride was luckless last time out. I'm just thinking, put 2 and 2 together. Let's hope we can come up with a win.
I'll take you to race number 6 at Otaki. I'm going against Andrew Scott and a horse called Kapachi. Massive on debut, then went around in the Eulogy, ran 3rd at its 2nd start. Thought it was great at Trentham last time against the pattern, got held up in the straight, steps up to the mile. $10, crazy.
And I'm taking you to Casino in the last race at Waverley. Craig Grill's aboard. I think he can pay the bills on her, as we've mentioned. Just didn't really suit her, I think, last time at Trentham. So that's who I'm liking as we have a look at a summary. And the Whale kicks us off with Got the Chocolates at Addington on Friday night. The Casino for myself, Never Too Much, Kapichi for Bevan, and After Summer. And that completes the form. Thanks very much, Leith and Aidan, as always. And, of course, you, Bevan Sweeney. Always a pleasure. Enjoy Otaki. We'll catch you back next week. Until then, enjoy all of the action this weekend.